Hello and welcome to Gradient's weekly business roundup, bringing you the key financial developments in Sri Lanka for the week ending 17 June 2022. Here are the top stories for this week. Prime Minister says $6 billion is needed to run the country till November as debt advisors arrive. Rice from China en route, but says no to currency swap. Fuel and power challenges continue unabated, quotas from July. BOI aims to attract $1 billion in FDIs in 2022. We will also briefly look at other notable news that made it across to our news desk and wrap up with the capital markets update. In our main story this week, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said in Parliament that Sri Lanka requires $5 billion for its daily operations for the next 6 months and another $1 billion to maintain the foreign reserves. The Premier added that the central bank forecasts the country's GDP to contract 4 to 5% this year. He further noted that Lazard and Clifford Chance, the financial and legal advisors appointed to assist Sri Lanka with debt restructuring, are in the country, and a team from the IMF will arrive on the 20th of June to negotiate a program. On Tuesday, the Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka said the first 2 shipments of rice worth 500 million yuan or $74 million will reach Sri Lanka on June 25th and 30th. According to Mahinda Amaravira, Minister of Agriculture, the country's rice harvest during the Maha season in 2021 declined 40% from a year earlier to 1.8 million metric tons due to the chemical fertilizer ban. Meanwhile, the Sunday Times newspaper, citing a senior official, reported that the Chinese government had ruled out the possibility of entering into a $1.5 billion swap arrangement with Sri Lanka on the basis that Sri Lanka may not be able to fulfill its conditions. Fuel shortages appear to have aggravated in the week, with significantly longer queues at most fuel stations across the country. According to Kanchana Wijesekara, Minister of Power and Energy, a weekly fuel distribution plan with consumers having to register at filling stations is to be introduced in the first week of July. Meanwhile, controversy brewed over the awarding of wind and solar projects to India's Adani Group. According to the now resigned CEB chairman MC Ferdinando, the proposed 500 megawatt plant to be constructed in Mannar was awarded to the Indian firm on the directions of the Sri Lankan president. The president's office issued a statement denying such had taken place, and Mr. Ferdinando was to later retract his comments. Renuka Virakon, Director General of the Board of Investment, speaking to Reuters, stated that Sri Lanka aims to attract over $1 billion in foreign direct investments this year. She noted that Japan-based Marubeni Corporation has put forward a proposal to establish 800 megawatt solar and wind plant in the country, whilst India's Adani Group had completed feasibility studies on a similar 500 megawatt project. During the first quarter of 2022, Sri Lanka attracted $226 million in committed projects, a 16% increase from a year earlier. In other news, a social security contribution levy of 2.5% on annual turnover of 120 million rupees is to be introduced. This is said to be applicable to importers, manufacturers, service providers, wholesalers and retailers. Tourist arrivals in May fell to 30,207, down 52% from April. India continued to be the main source market, followed by the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom lifted its travel advisory to Sri Lanka, whilst the United States asked its citizens to reconsider visits to the country. Taking the country situation into consideration, the SLTDA revised its full year 2022 target down to between 800,000 to 850,000 from 1.3 million, and now only expects earnings of about $800 million. Workers' remittances in May improved to $304 million, up from a month earlier, but 34% lower from a year earlier. This is despite an over 80% depreciation in the Sri Lankan rupee since its flotation in mid-March. And now let's take a look at the weekly movement of the all-share price index and the S&P SL20 index at the Colombo Stock Exchange. At the weekly Treasury bill auction held on Wednesday, yields on all-term maturities fell with 364 and 91-day tenor declining the most, shredding 119 and 118 basis points, respectively, from a year earlier. Of the 202 billion rupees worth of bids, 98 billion rupees were accepted. And here's how the rupee performed against the dollar this week. And that's a wrap for this week. Follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for more updates on business and financial developments in Sri Lanka. Until we see you again next week, thank you for watching. Stay safe.